Alright, so I'm about to tell you guys about my ayahuasca journey, and I've never told this story publicly before. My first ayahuasca journey was about 4 or 5 years ago in Boulder, Colorado, with a shaman's wife. So I had guidance, and my psychedelic journey pretty much started when I moved to Colorado. I moved to Colorado 6 years ago, and before that, I'm 39 now, and before I moved here, I really was against psychedelics. I maybe tried mushrooms one time, and it didn't really do anything except cause me to lose sleep for work the next day, so I took that as a sign that maybe that wasn't for me. But when I moved to Colorado, I went to a concert, and some friends were buying some mushrooms and borrowed some money off of me to buy the mushrooms. So naturally, I had to partake and join them, and just to make sure I got my money's worth. But it was a cool experience. My mushroom journey, my first real mushroom journey, was at Red Rocks for a concert, and just really enhanced the moment. And so that kind of opened me up to allowing more psychedelics into my life. And I think psychedelics are a great shortcut in order to open up some channels in the body, allow for more feeling and less thinking, and allow for deeper contemplation. And so psychedelics have actually been a great tool towards my spiritual awakening. And not that I'm recommending psychedelics, because I think you can get through life without them, but it certainly has been magical, I must say, for me. And ayahuasca in particular is a psychedelic that is a long-lasting spiritual trip. And so it's kind of like, somebody's calling me, let me reject that. It's kind of like if you've ever tried DMT in a vape cartridge, it's kind of like an extended version of what you get in a short couple minute trip on DMT pen. But it allows you to kind of really work with the spiritual realm and the psychedelic realm for a long period of time, and it kind of shows you some things within yourself that you need to work on. I think it's mostly work. I think it really is less recreational than any other psychedelic and more work oriented. And so I'll kind of tell you how I ended up on an ayahuasca journey. I've heard about it a couple of times. One time, Aubrey Marcus talked about it on his podcast, and I met a few other people at business conferences that said it changed their life and it was a major transformation for them. And it turned out to be part of my major transformation as well, one of the climaxes of my spiritual journey. So I had met someone when I moved to Colorado that was kind of like a Tinder date, and she was into polyamory. I really wasn't very open-minded. I was always monogamous, and I decided I didn't want to date this person, but she had talked about ayahuasca and her shaman friend, which she ended up introducing me, or at least giving me the number for my shaman, who I contacted him and his wife, and I went in downtown Denver to their apartment and met them, and it was a good fit for me. So they invited me on the next ayahuasca journey that they were having, and I signed up. It was only $300, which is a reasonable price compared to going to Brazil or somewhere else where you have to go travel, spend thousands of dollars, sleep in a hut, and worry about the wildlife and the bugs and all of that stuff. This was nice. There was nice bathrooms. It was a nice building. And I'll get right to it. So before the ceremony, you have to do what's called a dieta, which is a diet. And you want to eat very light and all whole organic foods, not very much meat at all, for at least 7 days, for proper absorption of the medicine, and so your body's not full of a lot of toxins, because this ayahuasca plant really cleans you out internally. During your journey, you might have diarrhea, you might puke, and you don't want to do too much of that. It'll ruin your experience, or maybe not. But for me, I did the dieta to the best of my ability. Diet's one of the things that I've always struggled a little bit with. I go back and forth between extreme health eating or just not really caring too much about what I eat. I'm trying to find the balance and really trying to get an organized diet where I'm constantly eating healthy, organic, whole foods, and the more people that I help in that arena, the better that I do. So I'm going to continue working on finding more people that I can help around that, and helping myself at the same time, because I do have the discipline. When it's time to really rock and roll, I can turn on the discipline and eat super healthy, fasting. I've done a lot of meta challenges. I've done the 75 hard program, and back to ayahuasca here. After the dieta, 7 days, you show up around 5 or 6 p.m. I think it's closer to 6 p.m. And there's about 20 people at the time. Usually these groups are around 10 to 20 people. And the shaman and his wife, and the shaman had 2 or 3 apprentices that were working with him, volunteering. I think it's non-paid. And you do an opening ceremony where everybody kind of sets their intentions. What was the intention for the medicine? I was letting go of some past relationships. I wanted to see more visuals when I close my eyes at night and dream. And part of the reason I think, or I know, that I wasn't dreaming very much is I used to smoke a lot of marijuana. I've since have a rule that's mainly concerts and camping. I don't really buy any marijuana. I'll smoke it occasionally if somebody offers it. But I really enjoy cigars now, and cut out the weed. And so the first round of medicine comes after the opening ceremony, where the opening ceremony is intentions, and then it's also inviting positive spirit, and you're trying to prevent any negative entities and negative spirits from coming in the space and interrupting the journey of others. And so we go through these ceremonies, and then we are called to line up, or called up one by one, basically, to take your first round of medicine. It's in a little shot glass, at least it was this time, and it's this murky looking, it's kind of like muddy water. It looks like it's earthy, it's murky. And we take this first shot glass, and they kind of tell you, like, hey, you're going to start to feel it come on. You're going to start to see some visuals maybe open up. You may feel like dancing. It's kind of light-hearted at first. Usually it doesn't really come in too heavy on your first shot, and they'll give you kind of how much you want, a half a shot, a quarter shot, a full shot. I think I got like maybe 3/4 shot on the first dose, and then I kind of went and I sat down, and I was listening to the music that they start to play, and the music was more of an upbeat, and people were dancing around. I was dancing around a little bit, and I would close my eyes, and I'd start to see visuals of the music taking shape, and kind of having like these arms come in from the visuals of lines and patterns and arms, and not like human arms, but just lines extending into my head from maybe the ceiling or the top of my vision down into my brain. And it started to freak me out a little bit, honestly, and I'd open my eyes and it would go away. And um, so one of my intentions of just seeing more visuals was met right away. And you take a shot every 2 hours. And I didn't get any nausea, no problems with the first shot. So I was called up 2 hours later for the second shot. And I took the shot and went over there and laid down and let the medicine kind of sink in. And it didn't really feel too much more intense than the first shot, but I started to kind of get into more of a deep introspection. I started feeling a little nauseous. You're not supposed to drink a lot of water or anything like that, so I wasn't drinking water. I remember that when they offer you the shot, you either get a Tic Tac or a Hershey, not a Hershey, but a little chocolate chip. And so I think I went with the Tic Tac on the first shot. The Tic Tac. And then I went with the Hershey Kiss on the second. The chocolate chip on the second shot. And it totally made the taste fine. Like I really didn't have a problem with it. And I avoided throwing up. I avoided going to the bathroom. For this whole second round, I kind of just chilled and laid on my mat and kind of talked a little bit to the person next to me and was really just kind of waiting for the next round and maybe having a couple little conversations. But the next round comes up. This is round 3. We're 4 to 6 hours into the event right now, and I take the third round. And as soon as I did, this time the Tic Tac, and the chocolate chip really weren't working. It tasted terrible. And I was like, oh man, I start to feel a little nauseous. I was fighting it, laying there, fighting it. And finally I decided I should go to the bathroom. And so I go to the bathroom and I'm sitting there on the toilet and I was waiting and waiting. I'm like, why did I even come in here? There was no emergency, no reason to really go to the bathroom. I was just feeling nauseous and I just sat there, and all of a sudden, like, it's kind of gross, but like an explosion happened in my body and I had like stuff coming out of me, out of my rear end. And I was like, oh, so I'm like hyper conscious right now. And I knew this was coming before I even knew it was coming. And it kind of felt that way. Like I had a heightened sense of awareness. And a lot of times when I do psychedelics, I have this heightened sense of awareness. Like I'm very aware of every feeling in my body and things that I need to do in the future and things that have happened in the past and what they mean, like a heightened awareness. And so after I went to the bathroom, I still felt a little nauseous. I grabbed my bucket, I went back into the bathroom, and I kind of let myself throw up. And only a little bit of throw up came out, and it was thick and it was nasty. Not like any other throw up I've had where it was a large amount of water and a mixture of things, but this was just some thick, nasty stuff. And after I threw up, I felt like I lost 100 pounds. I felt so light, like I was floating around the room. I came out of the bathroom just walking, like feeling amazing, not nauseous anymore. But I went to my mat and I felt like I was here to do work. I wasn't here for the recreational use of the medicine. I was really trying to accomplish something. I didn't know exactly what I needed. So I saw the shaman who had people laying down on the floor in front of him, and he was, I don't know, praying over them or chanting with them. People were kind of like almost like exorcism in the room, like yelling, screaming, demons were coming out or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what was going on, but it was almost disturbing to the experience. And I was wondering, like, what am I supposed to do? I'm here for the work. And I went over to the shaman after somebody got up, and I was like, hey man, can I lay down? Like, and he was just like, wait a second, what do you want? And he got really serious. He looks like a big Santa Claus, friendly guy, but all of a sudden he was dark and serious. And I was like, well, I don't know. He was like, no, what do you want? Come down here. And he was kneeling down on the floor, and I kneeled in front of him. And he looks in my eyes and he said, what do you want? And I said, I just want more love. And seconds in between stares into each other's eyes and words, he said, well, haven't you found that in yourself yet? And I thought about it and I said, it comes and goes. And then he said, what if all you can see was love and all you could feel is love because you are love? And I thought about it and I was like, well, how do I experience that to be true? And he was like, well, take off your shirt and lay down right here. And so I lay down, I take off my shirt, and I'm laying there, and there is Nick, a friend of mine now, who is to my left, and the shaman to my right, another apprentice of his behind me, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. They didn't explain much of anything. I think the shaman said, I'm going to install a heart lens, and the apprentices knew what he was talking about. I had no idea what was about to go down, and I was a little nervous. And so I lay down with my shirt off, and Nick to my left is asking Chelsea behind me that, hey, can I borrow your knife? And I was just thinking, knife? What's about to happen here? I don't want to get cut by any knife. And I look over, and he's got this blade. It looks like a stone, but a knife, and it's made of stone, and it looked razor sharp, like a doctor's scalpel kind of a knife, and very sharp. Maybe it was like 5 inches long. And he looks over at the shaman. He was like, should I go from here to here? He's like pointing from here to here, and the shaman confirms, yeah, here to here, and go deep. And I was like freaking out at that point. I was like, well, I'm in it this deep. I can't just be like, no, never mind, and then just get up and walk away. I suppose I could have, but I had enough trust in the people around me and other people that have got up and gone through things and walked out fine without a scratch. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just close my eyes here and let it happen and really face my fear. But I was beginning to be very scared, and I lay there and I feel this sharp object go from the top of my chest halfway down to my sternum, really slow and agonizingly painful, like I was getting cut open. It really felt painful, and I knew I was being cut open. My eyes were closed, and I was kind of gripping the ground with my hands and thinking, well, I can't get up now. I'm cut wide open. I'll just spill my guts and blood and everything out all over the place, and that's not going to be good. And so I better let them finish whatever they're doing. And so he cuts the center, and I feel him cut in between each rib, one by one, on both sides, probably a total of 15 plus cuts on my body. And I feel them twisting between each rib with their fingers to open up each little rib, open up my skin. And then I feel something else going on in the middle. Not sure what was happening. Again, my eyes stayed closed. I was the most scared I've ever been in my life in this moment. Not sure if I was really gonna bleed out or survive. And a few more minutes go by and I feel the opposite twist on each riblet, closing each riblet back up and pushing the center closed. And then I feel this white, well, I didn't know it was white, but I feel this milky, powdery substance being rubbed all over me, kind of like a thick, gritty face wash lotion or something. It's being rubbed around in circles. They used feathers, they did little chants, and different things were going on while I was getting cut. And then maybe 15 minutes had gone by through this process, and then the shaman's like, I just installed a heart lens in your chest. Now you can see with your heart and not your eyes. And he said, you can get up now. And I'm looking down at my chest like, are you sure it's safe? I ask him. He's like, yeah, you can get up. And I get up slowly. Nothing came apart. I didn't fall apart when I got up. And I went back over to my little mat and I seen the person that was next to me. And I was like, hey, did you see what happened over there? And they're like, no, I didn't really see anything. And then I'm looking down at my chest and I got this milky white pasty stuff all over me. My shirt's off and I wanted to put my shirt back on, but I went to the bathroom. And when I went to the bathroom and I got wet paper towels and I started cleaning everything off, I noticed when I cleaned everything off, there's not a single scratch on my body. And I had felt like I was in such pain, like I was getting cut wide open. And because you can like scratch your skin and see a scratch, right? Just with my little nail, you can see like a little line, a scratch. And this was way more painful than doing something like that. And so I was really confused. I was like, why isn't there scratches or, any marks after this? I was like, what is that white pasty stuff they use? That's some kind of miracle healing stuff. But I'm still not sure what that was. But anyways, I try to just think about how can I integrate this experience? What was he talking about? See with your heart. I always thought, your brain is your brain and your heart is an organ. It pumps blood, has no mind of its own. But now I realize that that's not true. Your heart actually has memory cells, and your heart actually has a mind of its, not a mind of its own, but it has the heart mind. I mean, the heart mind is very intuitive, and the heart intelligence is actually a greater intelligence than the intellect. And that's what I know now because I can see with my heart. Maybe not because of what happened there, but because the intention was drawn on it after that experience. And so I began to integrate that experience. And I would go to the grocery store thinking about how I can integrate the experience, and I could see the loving expression of all the people in the grocery store. And I wasn't just seeing how they look and how they're acting and what they're saying. I can actually see with my heart and see the divinity in these people and see the love expressed by these people, even when they're not expressing it outwardly. That's there. And it's been 4 or 5 years now since that experience, and I've done another ayahuasca journey, but this time, after all the other work that I've done, all the other psychedelic experiences, following some great leaders, Ram Dass, Maharaji, the shaman, Sadhguru. There's quite a few people that I've really gone deep with in learning and contemplating a lot of things in life and really focusing on devotion and the heart mind and what it means to live from a place of devotion rather than a place of survival. And I was actually on my last psychedelic journey with the same shaman, years later, and I ended up volunteering and holding space for people and contributing my knowledge and helping the people around me. And I feel like I had come full circle, where I was mentoring and helping people rather than going through my shit anymore. And for the last couple of years, that's what I've been doing. I've been helping people and mentoring people, and I'm not going through my shit anymore. I really feel like I have a strong foundation of unconditional love that's so full. My cup is so full that I'm able to spill it over and help others with the love that I have for other people. And it's really allowed me to see where other people's hearts are closed and help them open them back up and find forgiveness and the different practices that allow um, you to see with your heart and not your eyes. And I think it's been really a transformative experience to have done ayahuasca. And I, even though I won't recommend it for everyone, I think if you're called to do it, maybe that's a sign that you should go ahead and try it. I think it's safe. I think it's very safe. Very few people in the world have died from drinking ayahuasca. And those who did, maybe it reacted with something, or maybe they had way too much. But I think you can have quite a bit of it and still be safe. Same goes with other psychedelics. Maybe not so much LSD because that's more chemically oriented, but mushrooms, fairly safe. And I've done other things like peyote, 5-MeO, which is bufo, which is coming from the Colorado river toad. It's a DMT. I've done the DMT pen. I'm probably forgetting a few other combo. I've done combo. But anyways, ayahuasca one is one of the most powerful things that you can do that will open you up to different possibilities in life. And it makes life more of a magical journey, in my opinion, being able to, to see some of the unseen stuff behind the scenes within you and with other people and with the world around you, being able to see more God in everything that you see externally, being able to see more heaven on earth, and being able to make life a more beautiful journey. So that's the story. Well, it's not quite the story because we still got to finish it out, right? So I take the third one. I do the I do this. It's called a psychic surgery. I've looked it up. I was like, what is this thing that happened to me? And it's called a psychic surgery. And I go to this. Well, there was 4 shots, right? So there's the third, and I did the psychic surgery, and then the 4th shot comes up, and everybody's getting tired. Very few people take the 4th shot, but I was there thinking, hey, I might not ever do this again. Let me go one more. Let me go all in here and then take this last shot. And so I get up there, I take the last shot. It's probably 3 or 4 in the morning, and I go lay back down, and all of a sudden I'm in my ex-girlfriend's body talking to me from her perspective. And I was able to also communicate with my grandpa who had passed away, and I communicated with my mom who was in another state who I hadn't talked to in a couple months, and just kind of comforted her and told her she was okay. And I knew she was going through like a battle with depression and drinking at the time. And it's funny because the next morning I get a text from my mom at 10 a.m. It says, hey, I remember last night when I was sleeping, I saw you. And I was like, well, that's confirmation right there that we really were speaking with each other in the spirit realm. And you think you could be imagining things, hallucinating, whatever else, but the stuff is real. I mean, I was really communicating, kind of like a telepathic communication, and I was communicating with the person next to me in the room telepathically, and it really opens up some stuff. And it got to the point at that night where I couldn't shut it off. I wanted to shut it off and go to sleep, and I was having all these conversations and fixing all of these things where I thought that I went wrong with people, and I couldn't shut it off. And so I was the last one to fall asleep out of probably the whole 20 people. And by the time I fell asleep, it was almost light out, and an hour or 2 later they were waking everybody up like, hey, we gotta share, and we gotta eat, and then we gotta leave and clean up and go, because we were supposed to be out of there probably like 10 a.m. from the rented space that they had. And so we would all tell the stories of everything that happened the night before, what was positive out of the experience, what did we gain from it. And I told my story about the heart lens, and the shaman tells a story of how he did a similar process, and they were renting a hotel room, and when it happened the next morning, the cleaners came in and saw blood all over the walls and all over the bed, and they called the cops, and the cops came and they saw nothing. And so it's real in the metaphysical world. It might not have spilled blood in the 3D realm here, but there's some reality to this, and how I think it influences your cells so quickly, kind of like the belief in the placebo effect. That's how these medicines are able to do such quick work on people. And so I really respect the medicine for its abilities to make major transformations in a small amount of time. And I think that's probably, even though for me it took probably 4 years to really integrate the messages from the experience, I think that's really how this stuff works, and it's able to help a lot of people. And so I've really been interested in going a little deeper into the medicine circle practice, and I have a partner who's coming to host with me to do ayahuasca and to serve ayahuasca in the near future. So keep an eye out, or send me a message if you're interested, and I'll line you up on the list so you can try this medicine for yourself. But for now, that was pretty much it. They closed the circle, and the ceremony was over. Everybody ate a little bit of healthy food in the morning, and we all went home. And it's good to have a day off. I luckily had most of the day to just reflect and regain my energy and sleep it off, take naps, and start to prepare for getting back into work the next day after that. So that's my story of my ayahuasca journey, and thank you for staying with me through the whole thing, and did my best to share it with you from the most detail-oriented place that I can, and looking forward to another journey in the near future whenever it calls to me and whenever it's ready, or if it's going to be in May when we serve it, then that's when it'll be. Have a great day.